you. So I just started recording. Sorry about that. All right. So this, again, this document is a great thing to have. You can make a copy of it just by going to File and make a copy, and then you can add it to your Google Drive or bookmark it if you need to. So let's take a look at what that looks like now that you have some support documents. And let's go back up to the top of that standardized testing website in that green box there that you see towards the top under the title that says Desmos Testing Site. If you have used a graphing calculator before, the testing calculator doesn't have all the features that you normally would for your class. And this goes for ACT, PSAT, the SAT, and our field tests and KPREP and MAP. So there aren't as many options, which is good. We don't want them to have, all the options they can have because we want to be testing them on skills. But this will kind of show you what it looks like. And this is a great place to take your students as well. You can click on the Kentucky assessments. You can click on the 4-function calculator for high school mathematics, scientific calculator, and the graphing calculator. I'm going to click on the Kentucky assessments to start. And this will just show us some information about the KPREP test. So it takes you to our site, which is pretty neat. Next, we could go to the Kentucky information PDF, which will give us more information about the Kentucky Desmos calculators. And I love this document because it'll tell you the features that are enabled and disabled. So you can kind of get an idea of what your students will be looking at. So that gives you an idea. And different states do different restrictions. So that's why it's based on the state testing. They'll let Desmos know how that works. And then there's also just a practice link here. This practice link is everywhere, actually. But if you just go to the desmos.com/practice, if you want to open a new tab, if you're kind of working on your own here, or if you want to click on this document, it will actually take you out to a practice. And this might be a really good place to work with your students. I'm going to go to choose an assessment and choose Kentucky assessments at the top there. And then I can play around with the calculators here. And this goes for, these say high school math, but they're also for the MAP and the KPREP tests throughout. So even though this does say high school, it works for all of the things. So, and then you just hit start practice. And I'm going to view the graphing calculator because I want to show you a little bit about this one. So if you've never seen a graphing calculator before in Desmos, this is what it looks like. Students input here in the boxes. This is their input boxes where they can graph. They can add points. They can do calculations just like they would. It gives the answer right there on the right, but they also have the option to show a keypad. So this is kind of where the scientific calculator comes into play. If they want to square something, raise to exponents, there's the number pad, there's square root and pi, absolute value. They also have functions over here for trig, statistics, and some miscellaneous things over on the side there. But again, the more practice you can do to incorporate this, the better, just so they can practice with especially things like the graph settings, making sure that they can manipulate the graph settings, that they can zoom in and out, that they know they can kind of grab this and move it around. They can add a table to their input box, and they can enter coordinates there, and then they can manipulate from there. So again, the more practice they can get, the better using that functionality in the Desmos calculator. And then there's nothing here. You'll see there's no login. There's nothing to save. This is just where they can do some practice, which is different than Desmos.com in general, where they can actually log in and sign in with Google. They can save graphs. They can share them with you. So lots of other things you can do outside of this practice site with the Desmos calculator. So those are some things that I wanted you to see that you can use in your classroom. But there's also tutorial videos that you can work on in terms of when that testing is coming up. So if you go back to our Desmos at FCPS site, under the online state assessments, you'll see a bit.ly called KPREP practice. This is actually where tutorials and practice tests are stored for KPREP. And so it just gives them a great, I think it gives them an advantage going through the testing, being accustomed to it, feeling comfortable. And this is in math, science. We've got some science teachers here today. Shout out to our science teachers. And the math here that we have, yeah, Shelly, those videos that I shared with you before, you can use that worksheet that they can go through and practice. I've also got some other things that we can look at in terms of in a little bit when we get to classroom activities too. So here's the practice test. There's tutorials that you can work them through, and then it has all the math practice tests there from 3rd grade to 10th grade, where they can actually go through and look at what the platform is, if nothing else, just to get comfortable with the platform. And then this is just, you can just hit start. It doesn't save anything, but it kind of gives them a great little overview of what the questions are and what this platform looks like. And so it'll give you some tips. You've got a review of questions. They've got a notepad. Up here, you don't see a calculator, so that is not given to them. So for this problem, they are not given a calculator, but you can kind of scroll through here. This one, again, no calculator. Scroll through some more. Gives them just a way to look also how to type in the math. And this, again, is the KPREP platform. Oh, they got fancy with this. And this, they're not using, they're graphing separately outside of a calculator there on their own platform. Again, no Desmos calculator given to them. But when I go to the second section here, you should see, there it is. So right here is the Desmos graphing calculator for this problem. And so they can click on that. It'll open a separate window, which is really nice because they can drag it around, but they also can make this bigger, which is really important because then it starts to look like that testing site that we had with the calculator functions and the graphing. And they can drag this out and move it around as they please. Okay. So that's something that you may want to do before the KPREP test. Lastly, we've got some information for high school teachers about the online ACT test. And this is a document from ACT that just explains the graphing calculator that they can use. And where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No, I have to find it now. Pooey. No. Let's see if I can find the calculator part. Sorry about that. There's the timer, the clock. There it is, the calculator. So on page 6 of this document, you'll see that same calculator there. Okay. And so again, same type of calculator. You can use that same KPREP calculator that we looked at for any Kentucky assessment. You're going to see that same functionality there. So this is for the online test. So there's lots of great things in there as well. And
Hey,
so,
Susan,
yes.
can I add one thing real quick?
Oh, please, Mr. York. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, when it comes to the ACT, which is what I've been spending a lot of time on recently, someone asked in the chat and I tried to answer it. Students are able to switch back and forth between a handheld and a Desmos-like calculator, the built-in one, the one that's baked in the ACT Pi, right? They could switch back and forth as they please. So it's not like they have to choose one and stick with it. They can go back and forth. But if they see the Desmos as an option and they're not comfortable with it, they may end up wasting a lot of time just messing with the calculator, which
Yes,
obviously is not going to help them on the ACT.
Yes, sir.
But they could switch back and forth. They don't have to choose one and stick with it.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, so if your class has been using like a TI calculator and you are providing those for the students, then definitely they would have both as an option. So thank you, Mr. York. I bet you've been spending a lot of time on that. I'm so sorry. So, but you're doing an amazing job. So no testing has been hard this year for everyone. So use that document for the online ACT for our high school science and math teachers that are on today. It has lots of stuff about online testing for you there. All right. So this is for you to peruse, look at, go over, share the documents. You can post this on your Canvas or Google Classroom. I've got information with you that I can send you if you email me about embedding the calculators into your Google Classroom or how to use them with Canvas so that it makes it easier with our online platforms and for your blended learning classes. So let me know if you need any help with that, just to give our students a little edge in terms of getting used to using that calculator for those tests. So, all right. So if you are just here for the testing, then we are through with testing today. Please make sure to fill out the evaluation form so we can get some information to make our trainings better for you, and reach out to me for anything that you might need. I can even demo this for your class. We could Zoom. I could come into your class in the next few weeks and model it for you and go through the testing platforms with you. So we did online ACT last year in Douglas. So I have some experience as the STC there for how that might work. So love to share out with you all the good and bad things that happen with that so that it'll make your experience better.
Susan, if anybody, do any counselors or people that may be hopping off or other people have a specific question regarding Desmos and assessments for you right now?
Feel free to put in the chat or turn on your
Yes,
mic.
Natalie, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say, if they do, they by all means get in touch with me, especially around high school. I'll help with anything. I mean, I'll help with whatever you want help with, but specifically around the high school assessments, that's where my focus is primarily. But I'll help with anything, and I'm kind of a math guy. But if you have any questions at all around the high school assessments with Desmos or anything around high school assessments, especially, just be sure and get in touch, and I'll be there to help.
Great. And thanks for being on today, Mr. York. That's awesome. Okay, we are going, if you think of something about testing that comes up too, just put it in the chat and we can answer those towards the end too. So we're going to move on to Activity Builder. Are you ready for this? You're going to be building. It's going to be awesome. This is the first half an hour just for Activity Builder. So I'm so excited. Ms. Moser asked a good question before about, is there a worksheet or a document that might help? We have documents for elementary, middle, and high to embed or to integrate Desmos into your curriculum. So if you want to click on those, Ms. Moser, I'm going to look and see if I can actually make like a checklist sheet for you guys so that there's one I'll show you real quick here before we go into the activity builder, but there's one scavenger hunt one for geometry. And so I'll show you that one. I'm going to close some documents here, so not wasting my fuel. So this is the AGA, and in the geometry section, we actually have like a little scavenger hunt for that. For Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Desmos hasn't created one, but I'll go ahead and I will make one for you that's kind of like a scavenger hunt for testing. And so they can kind of go through a checklist. I'll attach those videos for you. It's a great way to start next week just to get them used to it. There's also some great like functionalities of the graphing calculator in learn.desmos.com/graphing. So you could start there for now and kind of get them used to watching the video and then doing some practice. But I'll put something together for you based on that other document that goes with Pearson Test Nav and something that that is a little more student friendly for you. Okay. So I'll put that on my list of things to do. Okay, so we're going to go right now. For those of you that would love to learn about Activity Builder, we're going to go to back to the website and go to Desmos Solutions in the top white menu bar. And from there, we're going to go to Classroom Activities. So if you want to come back to the Zoom and watch, or if you want to use that site again and go to Desmos Solutions in the top white menu bar, and then in that drop down, click on Classroom Activities. And this has everything we're going to talk about today. So if you miss something or you're going to forget it tomorrow because it's only Tuesday and it's been a long week already, it is all here for you. So we are going to look at Classroom Activities today. I'm going to leave that site. Let me get out of here. I'm going to try to close some more stuff to make this go a little faster for you. Oops. And in Classroom Activities, we're going to scroll down a little bit to Activity Builder. It's in a green section. So if you scroll down and you'll see a dark green highlighted section, that's where we're going to live today for the rest of our time together. But if you are new to Classroom Activities, which some of us were from the input there, this has everything you need to get started with Classroom Activities. We've got links in learn.desmos.com. We've got videos that can help you go through. And then again, my job is to help you integrate this technology if you're up for it. So email, call, let me know when you're free. I can come after school. I can come during class. I can demo or co-teach with you. Love to do that. So it's not a lot on you, everything on you to get started there. You get great feedback there. There's some videos that we did on the teacher dashboard, which I showed you just for a minute at the beginning, how to use the snapshot feature. But this is where we're going to live today. And so we're going to talk today about how to edit a classroom activity really quickly, and then actually get into the creating your own activity. And so excited about this. So everything we're going to do today is going to be in this video. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but you could actually then take a classroom activity and do it yourself. So my little homework for you would be to find a classroom activity today. First, we can find some ones for science. If we've got some science teachers on here, K through 12, we can find you an activity that'll work. They have some great new statistics and calculus, but they have a whole new middle school curriculum that they've created. So they're really trying to focus on our littles and really getting them used to where we've gone one-to-one during this time, get them using it in a fun and interactive way. So if you find a classroom activity, you can edit, copy it, and just put in a starter screen. Again, all the instructions for you to look at later are right here to do that. I'm going to show you really quickly how I can do that step by step. So I'm going to go back to my teacher.desmos.com and I'm going to sign in with Google. You don't want to create an account. You actually can use your Google single sign-on, which is your school email and password, to get into it. So you'll see your name here. And if I want to copy and edit any classroom activity, I first want to find the thing I want to copy. So they have some great starter screens. You could use these in any classes for checking in, checking understanding. Those are the screens that I copied that you saw there for how are you feeling today, or checking in, or where are you at. So this is the one that we looked at today. And I click on that screen and then I hit copy this screen, and it'll sit in your clipboard basically until you're ready to edit a classroom activity. And so I'm just going to copy this one and it sits in there until I'm ready to go. Okay. So before we do anything in terms of editing or creating, we've got to make sure that we set up our Desmos to do that. And so in our website here, I've got all the instructions for you for what we're going to do right now, which is we're going to turn on the functionality to be able to do anything we want in terms of editing, copying, and creating. And so I've got these steps here. The very first steps I'm going to demonstrate. If you want to do it on your own, I'll also talk you through it. If you want to get into teacher.desmos.com right now, and again, sign in with Google until you see, I'm going to close this. All this closed for you. Till you see your name appear at the top. And that's actually where we're going to go to turn on this functionality. So teacher.desmos.com, and then you'll sign in with Google, and I'll just ask you to click the little window that pops up, type in your password perhaps, and then you're going to go to the drop-down menu next to your name and go to Desmos Labs. Desmos Labs is where they have the features for everything you'd want to do to create or copy, edit an activity. And so you should just check everything you can on here, even if you don't know what it means. It's not going to hurt to have everything on, and then you won't be confused if something seems like it should be on and it's not. So again, you're going to go to teacher.desmos.com. This is where all of the classroom activities lie. Sign in with Google, use your drop down, and go to Desmos Labs. And again, these steps are in that slide deck right next to where we just started. Again, click on everything you see. And this is the thing we used at the beginning in ours, is the student image upload, which is brand new from last month, where you can have the students take a picture of their work or themselves or demo something. It's wonderful with pictures. They can find an image. Okay, so now you're ready to go. So again, name, Desmos Labs, check all the boxes. All right, now I got to find an activity to put this slide that I copied in. And all the activities are here on the side. You can search for an activity by topic. You can look at their featured collections, which are amazing. And recently released activities are awfully fun because then I can see new activities. I have my own activity history here that I can look at, the most popular ones. And then I want to look at my activity history here. Maybe I've added one and I want to do something with it. So I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to show you this one because I created this card sort for a teacher, and I love it. So if you would like me to make you a card sort, just let me know so we can demo it. It's just one slide where the students can match transformations with the graphs. I love it. This would be something that maybe for those of you math teachers that we would have done with physical cards, but now we can take that to an online feature for our students. So I'm going to go to my activity page for that. And then the edit feature is in the snowman. If we don't know anything, we got to look at this snowman. The snowman is a ... that's across from the title of the activity. And so I can add this activity when I find it. I can copy and edit it if I want another, I want to make a copy different from something I've already used. All of that is in this little snowman there. So I'm going to hit edit. And this is going to take me right into Activity Builder. So if you have an activity that you find that you kind of like and you don't want to make one from scratch, this is where you would go. You would edit the activity. Then I can just hit my Control V for paste. And there is my slide. I can move the slide back and forth so it's at the beginning, and now I can preview and publish it, and it becomes my own slide deck. Just a few of the classroom activities that are in Desmos are not editable. So you might run into that. Just wanted to mention that, but most are. I haven't run into many, which I love because then you can kind of make it your own, okay? So again, that copy and paste feature, you want to go to the slide that you found, copy it first, and then it sits in your clipboard. Then you edit your the deck that you want to look at. You want to look at that activity, and then you just hit Control V, paste it right in there. Okay. So that is how we use the copy and edit feature. Okay, but let's say you really want to make your own. You have something specific in mind and you want, I'm going to get out of here, and you want to build your own, okay? So all the steps that we just did are right here in the video to copy and edit, but we're going to get into creating our own activity now. So as long as we've turned on that functionality in step 1, we're ready to go. So step 2 is how the heck do I get to Activity Builder? So this is a problem. It's not just sitting there where you think it should be. So what you do is you go to teacher.desmos.com and again, sign in. That you do not have to do Desmos Labs again. Once you've set up the functionality, you're done. You don't have to go back in here and turn on things again. They're already set. So where you will go is you'll go down to custom in your activities. So on the side white bar here, you'll see your classes, your activities, and then featured collections. What you'll hit is custom, and then you'll come up to new activity or new polygraph. The polygraph, if you've ever played it before, is a wonderful activity that you can do to have students kind of use vocabulary skills and match your virtual students with your students that are in your classroom. It's a wonderful blended learning activity. Everybody gets on at the same time, and then it randomly picks students to work together. And then it's kind of like 20 questions. They try to match each other's graphs and you kind of eliminate. It's a wonderful feature. Now that's separate from an activity. So if you want a polygraph activity, you would hit this. But if you just want any other activity like a card sort, Marvel slides, or just your own, a quiz you want to make, anything, you would hit new activity. And so we title that activity and we give it a description if you'd like, and then you hit create new activity. And this is like starting Google Slides. And I think once you get used to the different types of features that you have, you're really going to love it. I love it. Like, I think it's amazing. How they've actually done a lot of work to make it easier for teachers to use. So up top here, kind of like you would see on the side of a Google slide or PowerPoint, is where your slides will lay. So this is where your content will be. Your components are over here on the left sidebar. And this is just a drag and drop basically. And you can maneuver them along anywhere you want on the screen. You can add a title to the slide for slide number 1, where you see it's untitled here. This is going to be my first slide, and then you'll see that it pops up there. Lots of things I want to show you before we even get into the slides. You can duplicate screens, delete screens. You can also delete screens from the X there up at the top as well. So that's the functionality there. You can add another slide here with the plus sign. You can preview at any time to see what it would look like on the student end. So it's wonderful to see like what the students would see in real time. You don't have to go out and turn stuff on. It's amazing. So lots of things there. There's teacher tips here, but then again, you can just put in whatever you want. Here we could put in a graph. You could edit this and add things that your students would see ahead of time that they wouldn't be able to change. You can have them sketch. You can add in a video that you might want to watch. This is wonderful for 3 acts. If you want to have it outside of your Savas curriculum and have it here in Desmos, we could put in a video in there as well. You can create a table, lots of things, and I can move these around as well. So students also have the ability to write on screens. They can sketch. I can convert things using that laid out snowman, I guess you would call it. I can delete components by clicking on the lay down snowman, ... He's taking a nap, napping snowman. That's what I'm going to call him. And I can delete all this as well. So lots of things I can do. If I just want a full screen graphing calculator, I can have the full screen graphing calculator. Down here is also marble slides and the card sort as well. So a whole lot of functionality you can have here. You can have multiple choice where you ask a question. You can have it where you add a graph in or an image. You can switch that to text check boxes. You saw that in the introduction as well. You can put in math equations with the type math function. Love it. So, and then you can also put in notes. So if you just want to have instructions, especially for blended learning, where you'll have your virtual students maybe come onto this and they need the written instructions as well as your speaking instructions, you can have that in here as well. And you could make a video and embed it as a media item that explains it too. I think having teachers talk to our students that are virtual and our students in the classroom as well, but having a recording of that really makes it personal and where they can listen over and over. It gives them a little help with instructions. Okay. And so I can keep adding as many slides as I want to and adding to it. And I can get ideas from other classroom activities of what I want on my slides and the input I want. Love that they are going to have you adding like explanations, because we really want our students to be using vocabulary, generating discussion in all of our activities. So an explanation, having that text box there to explain an answer is something they wouldn't get just from a plain old multiple choice question. So I love this explain your thinking, which you can turn off or turn on after they pick a choice. Kind of gives you an idea of where they're coming from instead of just picking an answer, but having them explain the answer as well. So sorry about that, that's my cat. So that is the activity builder. Now, if a lot of this isn't making sense and you need more explanation for these components, we have that. So down here at the underneath, I'm going back to our Desmos website. There is learn.desmos.com site called Create Your Own Activity. And so if you click on that, it will actually go through every single one of those components. So I didn't feel like making another slide deck for you. It's all right here. A little video for you about Activity Builder, but gives you some pro tips. Here's copy and pasting activity screens. You can collaborate when you do these, which is amazing if you have a co-teacher or you have a team that you're working on. And one big tip that I love, because these can get crazy, is having one goal per screen. So not adding too much to one screen, but having a goal in mind and keeping it all kind of focused on that one screen with small components. So I love that tip. But underneath that, and I'll put this link in the chat for you to go to, if you want to just jump on there. Underneath that is the explanation of each one of those components. So it has examples of what that would look like as well, kind of shows you what that graph will do, a table, the sketch component, the media component with examples, the notes, I love the Cheez-Its, the inputs, choice and check boxes, which you can kind of toggle back and forth. If you you have one and then you decide to go to check boxes, you can use that Nap and Snowman to switch it over to check boxes or vice versa. The graphing calculator, how to embed that into the slide. And then this, again, the marble slides is really fun. If you've never done a marble slide before, you might want to start out with one of those activities that are already created. Just search for marble slides and you can find one. It's wonderful for graphs, lines, parabolas, really kind of teaches them those features and transformations that are in there. And then the card sort. So, and then there's actually the link to the activity builder as well. So you have great resources here to see examples and kind of get an idea of how those components work and what they do in the slide deck. So that is our activity builder. I love Desmos activities because they give you so much information as you're working through them, especially for blended learning. So I would task you to, if you haven't used a classroom activity before, it's March Madness. Go ahead and try it. They're wonderful. And again, I can come and co-teach with you or help you set up one. We could collaborate on a slide here together if you have an idea of what you want to do. But don't know where to start. When I've finished with my classroom activity and I like it the way it is, I can go to publish and then it will be ready to go. But I can go back and edit it before I assign it to my class or give them the single class code. I can always come back to the snowman and edit. This is the collaborate feature. I can copy and edit it again that we shot, and then I can share the activity with people in my team or my PLC, or this is to share with teachers, not to share with students. And then it's ready to go. The way I then can add it and get started is I can put it in a collection if I want, which I have lots of collections, but this is the assign feature. And this is new for Desmos. I can actually create classes now in Desmos, which is new, or you can just do it as you've done before, which is to give a single session code, which can be active for 48 hours, 2 weeks, or 1 year. And then you can create the invitation code there. So I am going to wrap it up by just letting you know again of the features on our new website. We have curriculum maps that link Desmos activities if you don't know where to start to our curriculum in elementary, middle, and high school. Those were based on Navigator. We also have blended learning information for virtual and in person. I'm going to actually do a training on that on Thursday if you want to join me. And then please don't forget to share your Des moments. We want to know what you're doing. Shout yourself out here because this is where all of us sharing is caring. So please fill out that form. If you are starting your own activity, share out that activity. Let's see what's working. And we would love to know what you're doing. And then if you don't mind, before you go today, scan this QR code for me real quick on the Zoom meeting share here. And I'll also copy the form one more time into the chat. Whoops. Oh, that didn't copy the link address. There we go, girl. Get it. If you click on that link, that big fat link that just came through in the chat, or if you scan on your QR code, I would love for you to give me some feedback to make these better for you. And please, please, please reach out to me. If you need any help, I'd love to walk you through this some more. If you're just getting a little taste of it right now, love to help you out with Desmos anytime that you're free. And let's have some fun with these classroom activities and builds. So have a wonderful night, wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Susan. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.